Okay, today is November 2nd, 2025, and, well, the AI world, it feels like it's all about an enormous scale today
Yeah,
and really high stakes.
definitely. We're tracking, I'd say, three big currents right now. You've got
Okay.
this infrastructure arms race just heating up like crazy.
Right,
Then there's actual concrete proof of pretty massive AI monetization happening already.
which is huge.
And finally, global governance. It's moving really fast now, from just white papers to actual legally binding stuff.
That's a great way to frame it. So for you listening, our job today is really to cut through all that noise, right?
Exactly. We want to distill what you absolutely need to know. We're talking quantifiable revenue, these huge hardware deals that are basically shaping national sovereignty,
Mm-hmm.
and these new safety rules that could honestly speed up or slow down the next big model releases.
Okay, let's dive in then. Let's start where it all begins, really, the latest research. How are models actually being built now, especially for efficiency?
Yeah, what's really standing out of research right now is this um, intense focus on getting more out of smaller models,
Mm-hmm.
which is, a real win for the open source world.
Okay, so the first piece here is from the Hugging Face blog. It details the 1 billion token challenge, finding the perfect pre-training mix. This is from Code Lion researchers.
Right.
They ran this massive test to figure out the best recipe, the ideal mix of code, math, and natural language data for training smaller language models efficiently.
And this is important because it kind of flips the script, doesn't it? It's not just about throwing more and more data at the problem.
Exactly.
They found this sweet spot, 50% code, 30% math, and 20% natural language. That specific mix they found boosted model perplexity by up to 15% on downstream tasks.
Okay, hold on. 15% boost in perplexity. For people not training models every day, what does that actually mean, like in practical terms?
Good question. Yeah, perplexity is basically a measure of how surprised a model is by new stuff it sees.
Mhm.
Lower perplexity means it's better at guessing what comes next. It's less confused. So a 15% improvement. That means better quality results and faster, more accurate pre-training. It lets developers with fewer resources, compete using less compute power.
That really is a practical blueprint then. Okay, so from optimizing data, let's move to automation. We're looking at China, specifically the University of Hong Kong. News about DeepCode, an AI agent outperforming PhDs in paper code reproduction. This was reported by 36KR.
Yes, DeepCode. It's an open source AI agent, and its whole job is to automatically reproduce the code from AI conference papers. This tackles a huge headache in science: reproducibility.
And the results sound pretty dramatic.
They are, frankly, startling. The agent didn't just do well on the paper benchmark. It actually beat human ML PhDs from places like Cambridge.
Wow.
And it cuts the time needed to reproduce code from weeks, literally weeks, down to just hours. That's a massive boost for, checking if research claims actually hold up. Faster, more reliable science.
That link between research and real-world use is so crucial. And speaking of the real world and, well, where the money is, let's look at products. There's one name really making waves in the US right now.
Ah, yes. This is the big monetization headline today. Amazon. They revealed some really strong numbers for their Rufus AI shopping assistant, generating $10 billion in incremental annual sales. This came out around their Q3 earnings call context. TechCrunch reported it.
$10 billion, and that's incremental sales. I mean, that number is just huge. How is it doing that?
Rufus is basically the proof point everyone was waiting for. It shows generative AI can directly drive massive measurable revenue. And the key stat is pretty staggering.
Yeah.
The 250 million monthly users who actually use the Rufus tool, they are 60% more likely to buy something. 60%.
60%. Okay, that alone just validates the whole enterprise AI push, doesn't it? It's not just a fancy feature. It's a serious sales engine.
Undeniable ROI. That's what the market wants to see.
Absolutely. Okay, staying with products, but looking globally now at maybe a more radical approach. We saw the launch of 42's decentralized AI inference network. And they're making some big claims against frontier models. The Register covered this.
Yeah, 42. They've launched this peer-to-peer decentralized network. They call it swarm inference, basically distributing the computing work across like regular personal computers.
Okay.
And they're claiming their system actually beats the big centralized models.
Wait, hold on. Are they seriously saying a bunch of PCs working together could outperform something like GPT-5 running on, billions of dollars of hardware? Is there a catch? Is it slower?
Well, they claim it outperforms models like GPT-5, Gemini 2.5 Pro, Claude Opus 4.1 on reasoning benchmarks.
Yeah.
Specifically GPQA Diamond and Amy 2024.
Okay, those are tough benchmarks.
It's very tough. GPQA Diamond is seen as maybe the hardest reasoning test out there. The idea of swarm inference is breaking down complex problems across this network. Speed details aren't fully clear yet, but the claim itself challenges the idea that you absolutely need that massive centralized compute for top-level reasoning.
That's definitely a challenge to the status quo. Now, unfortunately, there's also a more concerning product update. Google delists Gemma AI model following political controversy. Newsushi confirmed this. They removed the Gemma 2B and 7B models from their AI studio.
Yeah, that sends a real chill through the AI community globally.
Mhm.
It's the first time a major model has been pulled specifically because of political pressure. In this case, allegations from a U.S. senator or a Republican from Tennessee.
Mm.
It suggests model availability might now depend not just on technical stuff, but on politics, regional politics. That could really fragment the open source ecosystem.
That is a huge signal flare. Okay, let's shift gears to what powers all this. Chips and infrastructure. This is where that global arms race is really visible, often at the nation-state level.
Oh, absolutely. And the biggest infra news today is this just staggering NVIDIA deal to supply Korea for their national AI infrastructure. AlphaBiz reported this.
Yeah, this involves NVIDIA partnering with the Korean government and their huge companies, Samsung, SK Group, Hyundai, Nevercloud. It's about massively boosting the country's AI compute power.
It's a huge strategic move, a $10 billion deal for 260,000 GPUs, including the really advanced GB200 Grace Blackwell chips.
The absolute top tier right now.
Exactly. NVIDIA's cutting edge, built for models with, trillions of parameters. Getting these means South Korea is betting big on infrastructure for AI sovereignty. It just escalates the global competition for compute.
But then on the flip side, that global race gets complicated by policy. Coming out of the U.S., Yahoo Finance reported on former President Trump stating there'd be a freeze on advanced NVIDIA AI chip sales to China.
Right. This points to export controls getting even tighter on the absolute best chips. Trump said in an interview the advanced Blackwell series, those GB200s, would be banned for sale to China, reserved only for U.S. companies.
So geopolitics directly hitting the most critical part of the supply chain.
Precisely.
And when you see that scale, the $10 billion deal, the restrictions, it kind of frames the terrifying amount being spent overall. I saw reports suggesting total global investment in AI data centers might be nearing $3 trillion.
It's almost hard to grasp. That's roughly the GDP of France, right?
Yeah.
It really shows we're building a whole new layer of the global economy.
Yeah.
But all that spending, it definitely brings market jitters, which takes us to the financial side of things. And we're seeing a real split in how the market's reacting.
Absolutely. On one hand, you have giants getting punished for spending. Meta's stock dropped 12%. They disclosed $20 billion in quarterly spending on AI infrastructure, but didn't really have a clear near-term product to show for it. TechCrunch said that was a market cap loss of over $200 billion.
Ouch. Yeah, that's the market demanding to see the ROI. Now, but then look at the other side. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman came out defending their spending. He claimed in an interview that OpenAI revenue is well more than $13 billion annually, basically justifying their high burn rate with existing success.
So Meta loses $200 billion for spending without clear products, while OpenAI points to $13 billion in revenue to justify its own spending. That's a pretty stark contrast, a tough lesson maybe in showing the money early on.
It is. It really highlights the pressure on these big AI players to justify the huge infrastructure costs. And related to that, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella gave some insight into staffing.
Ah, right, the leverage point.
Exactly. He confirmed they expect headcount to grow, but, and this is the quote, with a lot more leverage than the headcount we had pre-AI.
That feels like a really important piece of messaging for enterprise strategy, doesn't it? It suggests a permanent move towards AI making people more productive rather than just hiring more bodies, focusing on roles that, amplify AI.
Precisely. It's the strategic template for scaling AI without necessarily causing mass layoffs, which addresses a big public fear. It's about augmentation.
Okay. Finally, let's turn to policy, governance, and safety. The guardrails are becoming more formal, more global.
Yeah, the big domestic U.S. story here is the formal oversight for OpenAI. Zico Kolter is chairing OpenAI's Safety and Security Committee, and it now has real authority over model releases.
This comes from regulatory agreements in California and Delaware, right? Formalizing the committee's power.
That's right. So Kolter, the Carnegie Mellon professor, now has a legally backed power to request delays or even stop model releases if they're deemed unsafe. Fortune mentioned the scope covers things like cybersecurity risks, bioweapons, mental health impacts. It moves accountability from just internal promises to, well, legal reality.
That's a big step, and we're seeing international cooperation, too.
Yes, in Asia.
Yep.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Singapore confirmed that Singapore and South Korea upgraded their ties to a strategic partnership. And that includes a specific memorandum of understanding on AI safety and governance.
So that strengthens cooperation in the Asia-Pacific. It mentions practical things, too, like evaluating AI and medical devices together.
Exactly. It helps speed up safe deployment across both countries while keeping standards high. Real regulatory teamwork.
And then India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced significant R&D investment under their India AI mission.
Yeah, Euro Lakh Crore Research Development and Innovation Scheme. That's about 1.2 billion US dollars. It's to support 10,000 new research fellowships over 5 years. Plus, plans for a global AI summit in February 2026.
That's a major commitment. Shows India wants to play a big role in shaping, an ethical global framework for AI. Okay, we're almost out of time. Let's pull out some quick, actionable insights and the numbers that really define the day.
Okay, actionable insight. For developers, especially those maybe with fewer resources, that code line research is key. When building smaller models, focus on that specific data mix. 50% code, 30% math, 20% natural language. Don't just chase volume. That's the blueprint for efficient pre-training. Remember that 15% boost.
Got it. Practical advice. And the two numbers that tell today's story.
First, $10 billion. That's the annualized incremental sales from Amazon's Rufus AI. Proof. Tangible revenue right now from a deployed tool.
Clear ROI.
Then second, $200 billion. That's the market cap Meta lost after talking about huge spending without that clear, immediate product revenue. That's the price of spending without proof, at least in this market mood.
So the market punishes one giant for spending, while another points to massive sales from tools already out there.
It's crystal clear.
Okay, so here's a final thought. If you connect that massive spending needed for national AI strength, like South Korea's $10 billion GPU deal with that $200 billion hit Meta took, the big question for you to think about is this. What matters more right now for AI success and maybe even sovereignty? Is it securing the hardware, locking down those chips, or is it proving the short-term product ROI?